Okay, we're going to try this again. This time, instead of doing a somewhat of a review of a not so popular 80s show that felt like an original movie for summer season that has stunts and action, we're going to go with something very tested and true to open the summer box office with some success. A popular franchise from the last decade and even decades before that has great reviews, great action, a lot of CGI, and familiarity with everybody in the world. So I guess instead of a franchise, though, we have a kingdom. Let's get into Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Together, you will die.
No, together, strong.
This 20th Century Fox movie, directed by Wes Ball, picks up about a few generations after War of the Planet of the Apes, after the time that we saw Caesar's kind of trilogy end in the previous years, and we kind of get this interesting story of the ape Noah going on a mission to rescue his clan, who got raided by another group of apes who were searching for a human. And in this story, we have this really interesting dynamic where Noah is kind of a more primal ape that doesn't know exactly who Caesar is, doesn't know what the world is kind of like. They're a clan that raises eagles, and that's kind of all that they know in terms of life. They have their own set of rules, they have their own little society, but everything kind of goes wrong once they run into the kingdom of Proximus Caesar. And Proximus, who is voiced by Kevin Durand, is an interesting villain here. And a villain in terms of you can understand where he's coming from, you understand somewhat of what he's thinking, and he's really representative of what leaders and kings and Caesars and more would be like in humankind in our early evolutionary era, in ancient times per se. And I think that's something this movie does very well, is it really shows the kind of apes here generations after Caesars and how they didn't just adapt maybe to be human intelligent level, but you're seeing the progress, you're seeing how a kingdom is kind of being formed that can mirror, say, a Roman Empire or an ancient Mesopotamian empire. And you're seeing how you have them kind of bringing in these small clans to kind of become pseudo slaves or pseudo citizens of this kingdom to do the dirty work that Proximus wants. Now, on his journey to try and save his Eagle clan, Noah comes across both Raka and May. And this is where the movie really focuses in on the message of Caesar and really the message of the first few movies that, that apes have kind of lost the meaning of who Caesar was and what and the message of what Caesars as a whole, that humans and apes can live together, and you should be able to trust each other, and apes shouldn't be harming each other or putting each other in harm's way like we saw Proximus do throughout this movie. And that's where we first meet Freya Allen's May. And I have to say, this movie is able to succeed because of the relationship and chemistry that Freya is able to give to Noah, a fully CGI chimp. And I imagine, voiced spectacularly by Owen Teague throughout the whole entire movie, and build this relationship of trust, untrust. What exactly is the motivations behind May? And all of that gets answered more in this movie. I think Freya Allen, who you might know as Ciri from The Witcher, does a very good job in this role. Overall, though, my one critique or complaint is that the movie I felt a little bit, I don't want to say lost in the second act of this movie. You get a very big first act where you're really kind of focused on Caesar per se, and Raka is really trying to teach the message of Caesar, and you get a lot of jokes. Raka has a lot of funny jokes in there, in the movie, but in the middle, you kind of, once you get to the kingdom, things kind of get lost and shuffled around, and it kind of, fast forwards itself to try to get to a very eventful and very great third act in terms of action, in terms of just pure um, stress dynamics and kind of the journey of Noah as a whole. But I do think the second act is where it's very muddy and very thin, and that is probably my biggest complaint about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Otherwise, this movie just delivers, I think, a really okay score. The score wasn't as good as I was hoping it would be, but still, I think it does its job very well. You get a really interesting dynamic between Noah and May, and I feel the way both those characters run throughout the whole entire movie, I understood all the sides, and I even understood Proximus' side and where he's at. And most of the characters, I understood how they thought and how they get where they are and what they're right and maybe wrong about. And the way it ends, I think, is interesting because I think you can end it in a way where they don't need to make another Planet of the Apes movie. I mean, they've made 4 so far, so we're probably going to get a 5th if this does well. But they can also expand and see where exactly, ape civilization and any leftover, if there is any leftover human civilization, is going forward. Now, again, when I'm thinking about a rating for this movie, I was hovering between high gold and low plat, but I think the way the movie ended, I think it really nailed the dynamics, and it really wasn't afraid to answer the questions that take place when it comes to can you trust humans or not as an ape, and can you as humans trust apes or not as a human. And because of that, and because I think they really satisfied me for that, this movie gets a low platinum. I think it's very much worthy to go see in theaters. Like so many other movies out there right now, I think the effects are very good. I think the CGI is tremendous. And the cast altogether, I think, just do a very, very good job. Freya Allen and Owen Teague are my 2 standouts. But even still, I think Peter McCune, who played Raka, did a great job playing that kind of comedic type character. And again, Kevin Durant as Proximus Caesar, the pseudo villain of this movie, the villain of the movie, I think did a good job too. And again, I like that I understood where every character was. I just wish the second act would have been written out a little bit better. But overall, still a very solid platinum movie that I recommend you go see in theaters. And tell me, are you looking forward to see this in theaters? Put that in the comment down below. Tell me what your favorite Planet of the Apes movie is so far, and tell me why the theaters are kind of empty nowadays. Now, tonight was an early screening and it was pretty full in IMAX, but the box office speaks for themselves, and we've had a lot of underperformers recently. So I'm interested to see if Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes continues that trend, or are we going to get a decent hit that overperforms like we saw with Godzilla X Kong? Either way, solid platinum. Recommend you go see it in theaters. Check out some other stuff on my channel. Talk about Survivor recently. Talked about The Fall Guy last week. And I'll see you as the movie season continues. Maybe some more movies to check out this weekend. But until then, I shall see you later.
Our time. And it is my kingdom.